Okay, welcome back to Nick Lenz's Comic Corner, Classic Lesser Known Classics. This is episode number 29. I believe it's 53 in Doubleshot number 2847. Got two trades here from Poland. The last one's on the hat check out this month. First of which is Lenz and Green Arrow, Space Traveling Heroes. This is a follow-up to Hard Traveling Heroes. Yeah. Now, I initially had heard about the reason why the book ended issue 89 but came back. The book was canceled due to low sales. Despite the fact that, from what I heard at the time, it was very popular with some people, it was a big seller. Mainly because of all the political stuff in it. The whole rural stuff. It was a turnoff. Apparently the highest selling title, according to someone who worked at DC at the time, at Jack X-Men's podcast, apparently Jonah Hex was the highest selling title of DC at this point. Like, not Batman, not Superman. Jonah Hex, a Western superhero. Like, oh, it's getting canceled next month. He assumed that this book was selling really well because it was really good. So, written by Danny O'Neill, artwork by Mike Grant and Alex Selleck, of course, the co-writing by Frank McCartney and Elias Migan. This book covers from Green Lantern Volume 2 issues 90 to 106. It's not exactly up until the rest of the Bronze Age stuff for... now, basically, my guess is what's probably going on here, why... Now, given what the content we had from the Neil Adams stuff with Denny, probably the condition that when the book brought back, make it traditional superhero stuff. Don't make it what you did before. That's what people liked. So mostly put for this team-up title, because Green Lantern Green Arrow, it is mostly put just Green Lantern Green Arrow going space adventures. While there's various aliens, one point fighting Sinestro in here. But lots of good dialogue in here. At one point, get this, Green Arrow shaved his mustache. Actually, his traditional Valkyrie beard that Neil Adams gave him. Yes, the very same beard Neil Adams gave him. I think it was in Brave and the Bold number. I think it was like 80, issue 80. I think it was. He briefly shaves off for a few issues because he briefly turns bad guy. Also, they still have a bit of a socialist hero, a bit where he's not rich. He's basically been invited for a party. And you also have Green Lantern's own thing here. It's like... It's not the social commentary that the book was before. It's like... That was probably a condition why Danny O'Neill was probably going to get the title back. He may have begged to get the title back, but... I'm sure Neil probably didn't have anything to do with it. He probably figured, okay, so... We'll give you the title back, but no more social commentary. Do what the title was known for. Traditional superheroes. Of course, Carol Ferris is in here. She doesn't really play a role. At one point, Black Canary pops up in the book. Yes, Black Canary. And it is something, though, this was basically one of the... Probably, I think it's like one of the first titles to start from issue 1 that started in the Silver Age. Oh, yeah, and here's basically the issue. Where, issue 94, you have Black Canary walk in to see, like, Green... And, of course, she's about to basically be attacked by her own boyfriend. And Green Arrow has shaved his beard. To make him look like he was before Neil Adams decided to redesign him. And eventually, he does grow it back. And, of course, we have John Stewart here also. Now, as for why he shaved it off, it was just so he could go undercover. Yeah, that was simply the reason for it. I'm sure Denny, I don't know whose it was, because I can't ask Denny that, because he's since passed away. The only person who can ask this, if I get a chance to see him, was Mike Groh. He might know the answer to this question. And the whole thing of this one is him trying to be ordered to kill the president, because he's blackmailed, because he might kill his pretty bird, Black Canary. And eventually he is stopped. We also see a woman who was technically this Redskin woman here, this Redskin alien, who actually trained John Stewart, and later became his wife. Until she got killed off in Action Comics 101 by an evil, possessed Carol Ferris. Where if you read Action Comics Weekly, like I meant, I did a review for it, as soon as John Stewart saw her, he immediately attacked her. Because he knew that this is the woman who murdered his wife. Of course, Kara had no idea what the heck was going on. And of course, they thought John Stewart was being irrational, given the fact he was the first Green Lantern to go publicly acknowledge with his identity. Hal Jordan, still to this day, has never made his identity publicly known. Neither is Kyle Rayner, Simon Boz, or even Jessica Cruz. I believe Alan Scott himself, I believe his identity is still a secret. The only Green Lanterns made identities publicly known have been Guy Gardner and John Stewart. That's been it. No other Green Lantern has ever done that. Just those two. For John, he didn't think it was necessary. Guy, I'm not sure exactly the reason, but maybe just to get one up on him. So, then we have some possessed Green Lanterns. At one point he goes to Oa, and he supposedly kills a Guardian. Turns out basically he didn't kill her. But this book is a lot of fun. Very good action here. And of course, yes, Green Arrow does basic comeback. Is at one point, get this, we have an issue where Black Canary, this of course is at the time before the retcon of the 80s, where the retcon that the Black Canary was seeing in Earth 1, because this is Earth 1 at the time, where this actually is not the Earth 1, Earth 2 Black Canary. This is her daughter. The original was Diana Drake Lance. That's the way this one's written at the time to be that particular version of the character. It was retconned by, I think, Roy Thomas, that this actually is not Diana Drake Lance. This is Diana Laura Lance, the second Black Canary, and later became the wife of Green Arrow. And at one point, she can have kids because of the Longbow Hunters miniseries, which also took away her powers. And then they got fixed in Birds of Prey, and supposedly she can have children again, but she and Green Arrow never had kids. Of course, Green Arrow himself was confirmed, even by current continuity, he actually did have a child, but not with her. He had it with one named Sandra Hawk, who basically gave us Connor Hawk. He does have one other son, which of course doesn't exist in the current continuity, because that son's mother is Shadow, the woman who's the mother of Emiko, Green Arrow's half-sister, that was a creation of Jeff Lemire. So yeah, Robert Creighton Jr., the one who's the second son of Green Arrow, cannot exist in the current continuity because of Miko. That's mainly the reason for it. So, this book is a lot of fun. Now, those of you curious though, like, why did Danny O'Neill stop after just about 17 issues? Honestly, I don't really know why. It's like, he came back to his title, he's here for about 17 issues, and he just leaves. I mean, who you might be asking, who is succeeding him as the title? Now, also the editor, Julius Schwartz, left the title issue 103. And as for Denny, well, he would definitely stay in the book for, like I mentioned, he's on here up into issue 129. He does skip some issues, but I'm not sure why they don't finish collecting his run. I don't get it. Why is always finished? The only issue in this book that he did not write is issue 101. Nick, like, really? Yeah, really. As for why he left, I don't know. I'm trying to find out exactly the reason for it. You probably think it was because it became the Ray of Superman? It's possible. I'm trying to see here. What could have been... Maybe the reason why he left the book at that point. Why he left after... Oh, by the way, he doesn't do issues 107 and 128. Now, my guess is probably the reason why he left the book with 129 was because he got an offer to join Marvel. Yes. But in the case of this book overall, it's really good. I give this book a 10 out of 10. But we're not done with Danny O'Neill's time in the book, so don't worry, no final thoughts here. But I will give final thoughts this one when I finish talking this one. We have the Newsboy Legion, Volume 2, by Joe Simon and Jack Kirby. Which collects Newsboy Legion stories from Star Spangled Comics issues 33 to 64, which also features the Guardian as well. Mostly put it's him basically work with the Newsboys in these issues. Now, why did the book stop after 64 issues? Why is that issue the issue where Guardian Newsboy Legion left the book? Because the very next issue of the book, Dick Grayson Robin took over the book, animating the starring character into the last issue. It was called Star Spangled Comics, which is issue 130. But mostly put, it's still traditional 1940s. Now, no war stuff here per se. By the way, this period of time was the period of June of 1944, which is time of D-Day. And the last issue in here was published in January of 1947, which my guess is probably the reason why, maybe because the war stuff was basically wrapping up and they wanted basically... So after... And mostly the whole thing is basically the whole thing... I mentioned about the whole thing about like a back and fifth loan because it was the 40s. There's, however, some backup features in the book which actually are not printed in this trade, which are Liberty Bell, Star Spangled Kid, Robot Man, this is of course Robert Crane, and Painless Palmer. Yeah, their story is not here. Mostly put, it's just the Guardian and Newsboy Legion. That's mostly put exactly what it is. It's mostly put a lot of traditional news stuff from the 40s. Him, of course, Guardian, aka Jim Harper, be a bad guys. That's what you get here for about 31 straight issues. Actually, like 30, I think it's like 34, but it's really good. The stories themselves, if you're really curious, how long is each story? Each story is like 10 11 pages. So if you read this book, you can get through the whole feature. Yes, and this actually, I think, was one of two titles Jack Kirby worked on in the 40s DC. The other being Adventure Comics, where he basically gave Sandman a superhero costume. A traditional one, mind you, yes. But this book is still really good. And I'm going to give this book here a 10 out of 10 because it's just a pure classic book. Final thoughts, well, I can say anyways, about the Jack Kirby run, or basically the Newsboy Legion feature on Star Spangled Comics. Aside from basically the first issue being the debut of Newsboy Legion and the Guardian, there's not a lot of really big it's good stuff here by Jack Kirby, but it's nothing really historic about this feature aside from the start of it. But hey, at least leave it open for Robin. Still a super comic. Yep. It's interesting though that this is kind of interesting for this period of time where only Newsboy Legion features been collected. Not Star Spangled Kid, who was featured also in this book too. Oh, in case you're curious, the first book had collected well, basically it started from issue 7 and went straight to issue number 30, at least 64. And Kirby did an excellent job. Now, in this book per se, they are based out of Suicide Slum, which in Earth 2 continuity, it was based out of New York. Earth 1, that was actually, I kid you not, this was actually, what was it? It was, Metropolis. Yeah, and as for what happened, like, basically, it seemed like after, basically, this feature wrapped up, they were brought back, during his, Jack Kirby brought him back for his fourth What's Up and Superman about Jimmy Olsen. And they've had a few other books since then, basically as supporting characters. But nothing really out there, per se. Not really, no. So, in case you're curious, though, how much of Jack Kirby's time at DC have I covered? Well, the only thing I have officially covered from him is his volume for New Gods, basically issue of New Gods, Olmec, the first 20 issues. Let's see, just those two there. The Demon, the DC graphic novel number 4. The Challenge Known issues, not the issue for New Comics. Not a lot per se, but oh yeah, I've also covered his issues from Showcase, basically about them. But a lot of the stuff's really good. He did create one character for DC Comics. As a matter of fact, he created 2 characters for DC, aside from the Guardian. He also created the first 2 Manhunters, Paul Kirk and Dan Richards. Yep, he created these 2 characters. And he also created Mark Shaw. Yep. So in a way, he created... Now, Dan Richards, you might think, is he creation of Jack Kirby? Not necessarily, but he did. He is responsible for getting his character to life. Like, basically, he did do Mark Shaw's day appearance. Some might think his creator was Steve Eckhart, but not really. It was... Yeah. So... So the original one was not created by... Here we go. So the guy who originally created this Manhunter was Alex Kolsky and Tex Bundle. Yes. At one point, Paul Kirk, at one point, couldn't... He briefly stopped using the Manhunter feature. Yeah. That was basically Manhunter some at our time, but... Yeah, great stuff here with these 2 books. So... That's pretty much it, particular view. Please be sure to like, comment, subscribe, turn notifications, and do into the segment. Well, I'll see you tomorrow. My reviews for Sentai, for Is Returns of Gunship by Time, and my last 2 comic corners. Okay? Thanks, video. Bye.